I'm going to ask just very basic questions.
All right.
Some personal, some about the Joang outside of his post as Minister of Home Affairs, some regarding to Mosebetsi wa hao, obviously, just to get a feel of who's Joang Molapo outside of his work and who is he when he's in action.
All right.
So ke kopa o qala go jwetsa hana who is Ntate Molapo? O holetse kae, o hlahetse kae, his education, or what is his background like?
Ona ke tlhalosa.
Ntate.
Ke hlahetse ha mathata street tsa Lebe. Ke hlahetse mathata street tsa Lebe. Ke ha ke qala go ntate wa ka ke gola about ha ke na le 18 months old. Ham ina ka qeta ho hlaha. Eba ntate wa ka o etsa post in Washington. So ka le se re tsamaya le yena and let's get le yena kwano obviously until re khutlela kwano when I was about 5 years old. Eba ke kena massive prep for about 6 months. And I get cut out from us. Haraslim fella got it up as I saw New York or my Lesotho. So I went with him to New York and if I can send tickets to La Pilacasukolo, Honamon, New York, grade 1. And I went to school there for a few years. And then I think it was 1975 or 1976. Ibe went to a post in the ambassador Iran. So we went with him to Iran, and I went to school in Iran at the British school in Tehran. And then he was returned to New York, so I went back with him to New York, and I went to school. And I went to school there until I was about ready to start high school. And then I was like, high school, also high Ministry of Trade, in the Minister of Trade on a day. So I began school on Machabe, and I did my high school at Machabe. I did my O levels there, my A levels on a day, and then I get past the A levels saga. And I went and studied Nicola a BSc General. So I major in maths and in physics and in physics and chemistry. No. In maths and computer science were my majors, and then chemistry and maths and physics were my majors. Chemistry and computer science in minor electives. I went there, but at the end of my second year, I got a scholarship as engineering at Loughborough in the UK. So I went to Loughborough University where I studied engineering, and I've got a honors degree in civil engineering. And then I came got a high I graduated in July. In January, I got a job with an engineering company called Croswell Engineers in South Africa. I went and I joined them. I worked on the Croswell Engineers, and I worked on the project in Sabona really for about 2 years. Particularly the RE on the upgrade of the Soweto, how it's upgraded water system as well. Particularly RE about now commencing that project in another site engineer. Where one of the engineers then design another contractor. And I did that for a couple of years, and then it was during that time that I actually got married. And then I was able to get another job here, designer, but I had to the design phase for the Matsoku Dam. So I worked on as part of the team and the design of the Matsoku Dam. And at the end of that process, the companies that the engineering companies, one of them offered me a job again in South Africa, and I went to Port Elizabeth with them. I joined Needham Shand, which was one of the companies in the consortium in the engineers.
How far back was this?
This was in 1997.
Okay.
When I joined Needham Shand in Port Elizabeth, and I stayed with Needham Shand. And then I eventually moved to another engineering company called Jeffers & Green. And then in 2000, we started our own firm called Lukosi Consulting.
In 2000?
In 2000, yeah. Which today is now the largest black-owned engineering firm in the Eastern Cape.
And you are a part of it?
I was one of the original founders and one of the original directors. The relationships in
especially in business.
So what happened is that another guy in a company in Johannesburg, Consulting, which was specializing in transportation engineering, towards infrastructure engineering. So he was looking for a post, director, leader of the infrastructure division. So I left we worked for a while, but I think by that stage, my own company, interest designing some contracting, because consulting is good. The money is okay. The money is okay,
yes.
But the real money is in contracting. So I really wanted to go to contracting, and we started our own little construction firm, myself and my wife. And South Africa. There's a big shopping center. I hope that don't get out really how I'm on the hill there. We were part of that. We did a few jobs around South Africa. But a whole lot of companies it's always a big problem. So we had a lot of cash flow problems, and so fallback position. I can still go back and sell my skills as a professional. I rejoined Crosswell Engineers as now one of the directors of Crosswell. It's engineering. And I worked with them for a very long time until 2010. Until 2010. When I joined up the company More Pro Consulting.
More Pro,
Tumelo Molezani, Hutazo Molezani, Buddy Piling, and then some few other guys. And I was heading up their engineering division as well. And I was doing that right up until the day Kitlang Mona got 2012 or got June. My last day was the day before Mona was my last day in the office, Honamoru, and that's really my I think in summary, I'm an engineer by profession, and engineer. But I mean, during all of these things, for example, 1985, president ya SARC ka mo ka ho. Ke le ihlekile ke la hlaka ka ema ka tlasa flaga ya BNP hona ka mo. So I've been a lifelong BNP member, BNP supporter. So I get active ka ga di taba tsa BNP, both at youth level, le ha motho ntso hola ntso sebetsa ditaba tse. 2006 ke ne ke la ka emala dikgetho gona mo BNP tsa president ya Thabentsha. Motho ha o ka ba wa wina ka 2006, but so jwetswa ke batho later on ga ka ne la hlaga o sebetsa but I think I ran a good campaign, and I learned too because it helped me and so by staying inside the party and working with the party yes. So I think really that's where I am in Czech. I'm married. I'm married. I got married in 1993. So this October, I got 20 years.
Wow.
We've got 4 kids. A son and 3 daughters.
Wow.
And it's that's basically who I am.
Okay. And having been interested in politics from that young age, what was it, the background in the family because of your dad having been an ambassador for so long that drew you to that? What was it with politics that attracted you?
Well, sometimes next time I think I come from one of the most political families. Or people have different talents. Business. But now I think I come from a very, very political family. Of course, but so he comes from a very political family. And the first Musutu wa Gent.
Wow.
And he was originally Minister of Justice in the first government after independence. Olaba Minister of Foreign Affairs as well. So very, very active politics. It's a BNP himself, and then Malome Wantatwak. So you can understand who both on his mother's side, on his father's side, and my mother that were highly on my mother's side in the BNP in the Minister of Public Works. So on all sides, but also about politics at this particular party. So now this is my political home, this is my spiritual home politically. So I think really Galabagalahoe Hanagaduze at the dinner table under any circumstance. In ain't got 2 minutes a fellow conversation here politically. So yes, it's an environment that I've always enjoyed, that I've always been in.
Okay. And being sworn in as the Minister of Home Affairs, did you feel that this was your forte, to say? Because here you are now coming from an engineering background and you're being sworn into Home Affairs. How does it differ? Well,
I think let me give you Trevor Manuel is a civil engineer, and a lot of people who do engineering come into get recruited straight from university to other disciplines. I remember when we graduated from university, we were told that, the first thing we were told is that here you are, day one, you are 300. Let's say 300, who will pass 120 alone. We expect to get rid of the other 180 during the course of the next 3 years or 4 years. And then, even then, graduated 120 went to the stock market, went into banking, went into finance. because a lot of people appreciate the fact that engineering disciplines your mind in a certain way. You think logically, you have to think about solving problems. It's very much about thinking on your feet. Managing large construction projects increase the need for management skills, for administrative skills, for a lot of things. So I think that as much as you would go towards something you are an expert in it. I think the real issue you hope that you have a certain set of skills that if we're now precise, you can apply them to a particular set of problems.
I would like to just a little bit touch on some of the tasks or some of the projects that have been undertaken by the Ministry of Home Affairs, just to get a basic understanding, but also a very in-depth kind of understanding of what they're about, how they came about, and what change or what development are they going to bring to Lesotho and Basotho. One of these issues being the issue of national IDs. I'd just like to get an understanding of where this is coming from and why is it necessary? Why is it necessary now?
Okay.
Yes. And can I just go on so that how soon we also to tell you. Secondly is the issue of the registration, Eddie Powerful. I don't know how accurate that is, or if it's already underway, or if it's already in the pipeline. If you can touch a little bit on that also.
Okay. Well, when it's the registration of the national IDs, I think really there is. I think we need to recreate a proper context. You can. First and foremost, you have to look and see. Now, I think right now, if you there are about 167 countries in the United Nations.
Yes.
They are less than 10 who don't have a population register around the world. So, how come Basotho are not registering their populations when everybody else is? And because you go around and do classing okay. So a national population register, I think, in around it must, I could say now the actual moment when this thing really lights are dawned on the previous government. A population register seriously because there are so many simple questions. So how a population register. It's 2013 If you ask us next in 2 years' time, how many 5-year-olds will we have balokala school? You don't know the answer to that question unless you know how many 3-year-olds you have now. And you don't have that information unless you've kept a record of right now, pension 70. We don't have anything to tell us but back out in 70 babakana. Therefore, haiba ba collect and pension babakana. It means that 80% of them are getting them. Or next year, but 69 babakana. In the year coming. So it is a massively important planning tool. it's a massively important tool in terms of us being able to understand where our population is, what they are doing, so many things. And just because it doesn't mean was perfect.
Yes.
The Damba population register really it's a very important step towards us as a government, not as a society, being able to our banks have billions in savings. They have billions of maluti. In the account. They do not lend that money hobasotho. Instead, they take that money and they invest it outside of Lesotho. The reason being, and the battle about the bank over, having information in their buying credit record it's about so. So how to go carry my child to what is your situation? How much of a risk are you to us? So having a proper population register will also free up billions of maluti that can be invested hobasotho in terms of the liquidity in our economy. So there are many benefits. A proper functioning national identity system. Maponesa have 70,000 cases where the only evidence about Leon are fingerprints. But how about that fingerprints? There's nothing to compare them to. So there are just so many areas where the national ID system will bring us the benefits of the lay. We don't know orphans because we don't have a proper national register yet orphan. How register with system how much that automatically become an orphan. We can move you to the population register. How do we 21 register in the orphan? So there are many ways in which having a proper system will help us. I think the saddest part of the discussion is that people have allowed themselves to be very emotional in terms of saying, okay, was passed in 1973. So we've gone for 40 years ignoring this law. Has the LL man was information over the last 40 years. Now, when we've sat down and said it's time to do it, we are criticizing our for addressing a problem which we could have addressed for the last 40 years. Okay? So, those are things. But Chenna, my view is that one defines a government by having the courage to do what's right instead of necessarily doing what is popular at any given time. And that just reminds me of, for example, Hansi Kulamon. Okay? Let's about and we went ahead with it because we knew it was for the benefit of the people. Nowadays, and in much the same way, the system, every single time somebody joins the system, it becomes easier and easier for the next person. So, of course, but as more and more people are in the system, and the system now can interlink and now share information, and there is more information to share, it becomes easier and easier for us to take the process through. So, it's a very important issue. And then, Yamori said Pofolo, which is one of the other major projects of Nanazo. Leon, I kibata hore kinke elomosala wa more the project Yamori said Pofolo has been going on for 7 years. During that 7-year period, we've only been able to register 200,000 animals in the whole of the 7 years. Target ya re itsheditseng yona ke hore bonyane re tle re qale pele ka ho fihlela target ya 200,000 in the first year, maybe 500,000 by the second year, and by the third year re qala re qete diphoofolo tsa Lesotho kaofela ha tsona. The purpose, of course, ya ngodiso diphoofolo is to secure ownership. Ha phoofolo e le mono ka ho isheba fela re a tseba hona ke a mang. And bomadimabe ko hore matshwao a rona a Basotho ha mangata, and therefore tla fumana hore ke sense letshwao le tshwanang le motho a sebongo le mong hape a ipick. So it's very, very difficult now to resolve the issue ya hore na phoofolo ha e le mona na ke a mang. And it's a new way of marking animals, but it's one which, I say, a petahead, it will really, really give people a much higher degree of ownership. And we know that if you want to give maponesa, and therefore it will make it easier for us who and I think we welcome the challenge and the opportunity our no, but you know, the nature of these things go people are so used to their comfort zones, and therefore anything in cha is just people just assume it's wrong because it's new. So I think that's the sad part of the
change in perception about this new system. Okay, I think if you could just touch back on national IDs and the time frame that you have set for this project in particular.
Well,
now so far, what's the progress?
Well, our time frame. I think really what we are saying is that by March 2015, we would like to have, if possible, around 90% of our population in the database. And 90% of the population is about 1.8 million people. So that is our target for March 2015. Already, based on some of the problems startup, you're beginning to have questions now March 2015, but I still think that maybe by about June, July 2015 we'll be very close to those numbers, because right now we've lost about 2.5 months, 3 months of our operational program. I think really, so it'll be about March 2015. We should have by the end of this financial year, 2013-2014, I would like to be at around. I would have liked to have been at around 30%. But like I said, the bigger part of the delay has been in this year. So I would be happy if we could get to maybe between 15 and 20% by this year, by the end of this financial year, and then 2014-2015 financial year, I need to more on the big push in terms of registration. In terms of how things are going, it's again about really understanding the situation in LA. The first part of the situation is that when we came into office in June 2012, people were making applications for passports and they were taking more than a year.
That's just
okay. Plus, a backlog, the passport. In a 140,000. So now the applications are 140,000. And we had the applicants 140,000. And it was taking more than a year. The first thing we did, re shebe the process se re di sebedisang ho ntsha di-passport. And ono fumana hore di-rate tsa rona tsa production e ne le bo 9,000 units per month. We got the production rates up to a little over 20,000, something about 21, 22,000 a month. So re la ka ba le monyetla jwalo wa hore jwale re ke re qale ho etsa dealing with the backlog. Nese re theotse the backlog quite a lot. But in terms of the strategies tsa rona re le lekala le hore na nese re rekile di-passport tsa kae tsa kgale, we had always intended hore jwale we will go over to the IDs. So we ne re rekile stock say inside passport. We were able to work through them, but then there was no value in having one system running here and then another one running here. So we agreed that no, we need to go over to the IDs. And when you look at it scientifically, firstly, right now, how to the idea how apply a passport? You get your passport after 5 days. So we've gone from a year plus to 5 days. The real complaint the process is not easy. Not the fact that the process is not fast. Passport don't go silly. The birth certificate, let's honor the birth certificate. When you, how it's like a document, or sebeletsa the document, it takes us about an hour who register a birth, how. But those 120,000 people, the documents are ke bona jwala ba fihlang ba lendang ha ba utlwile hore mosebetsi o qadile. We are now dealing with the backlog. So re imeditswe ke setjhaba sa ne se sa le se frustrated ke ho emela nako e telele ma. And the saddest part of this discussion go hore e hlaiswa e kare ke boleng ba rona, when in actual fact we are going through this process much faster than those people were working. And really much faster than the system he designed was designed to do. But it's a question of we realized that so now and but they don't understand that at the same time we are trying to build a database ya Basotho e hlwekileng. Jwale ba batla hore ba re fe passport tsa bona fela and ska re duba ka information e ngata ena eo le shebang le batla. So you know, when you look at the statistics, we can show you the number of passports that exhibits a monitor process one. Okay? But people are, and therefore we are dealing with the demand. It's just that now to get a baptismal certificate. But there are two questions really that you've got to ask themselves. The things that are buying back they're no different from the Batwa in any country of the world.
Exactly.
How Batwa a national ID document, lead passport. You know, it's learning in the Kiona in a number two, there are so many issues. Okay? Insurance policy. You want to collect my insurance policy. All you do is you just simply say, okay? And we have many cases already that insurance fraud. No. Why should we want the death certificate? How was it how Kimuta are strong? Hosa Kalewe the full high. Okay? And how fit over the result Monahore? Kiwana Ramla. Chief, let's see some evidence. Okay? Now people think how tipa ya motho ke eno mono ke ya hao, but just here before go fa dinotlo. Okay, can you just confirm who you are actually this person that you say that you are? So and how ga go tla man okay, which would all of them have been resolved. Hoja, all the parties to this thing, but the banal proper documentation. So I think that Botata Barona really resides at the level Yahore. There is a lot of ignorance about what it is we're doing and why we are doing it, and people just think and all of the problems that we deal so I think I'm very, very I think because I have a slightly different view of this thing. We get downstairs on a passport office. Okay, which shows you hore, and they know okay, which is something which they did not have access to before, but they also know hore. Accident, people will just come, they'll check my fingerprints, how about check out the national register, but phone number, next of kin, information, okay? But you ask yourself why, okay? How now, why did they meant to be saying, is it because one of the reasons they were meant to be saying is your next of kin? All right, we didn't just go to her because okay. Why we let them wait? The phone is number because this is the number that we're not feeling. So there is a lot, but people seem to think yes. Okay. For a company system in a hundred, the system so I think really that's the key element that we are trying to achieve. And Chenama personally at a personal level, for me it's about there's no value in doing something if you're not going to do it right.
Yes.
Okay. Because a lot of people have said to me, how in shortcut more, like I build. Okay. When I go short foundations no. The first 10 years you won't see anything. How can I go after that 100 I will say Peppa you'll remember and shortcut. Okay, and at that stage that other bag of cement. So now my objective is that when I leave this office, this major project this is and you know we say this is a world-class database. Yes. So I think that for me is really that's my real objective is to do it right. Because I would hate to give away almost at the end of the project the ID we'll have spent almost 700-800 million on it. Either Basuto cannot point to it and see value.
Where the value that's money.
Yes. So I think I would really ask people to be patient and to judge us in 2015 how the system is editing rather than Hona Jena had a Sanzana really at the pilot phase.
I for one I think I've just gotten a lot more clarification on it because I had a few questions around it, the confusions as well right now. Are these going to be a replacement for the passport as a whole now, or are we what is it for exactly? So I think this is just puts a lot of
but how is it a replacement for the passport? So how did well, let me give you something which I made an example. Here is the Medineo. Okay, Medineo, Mudise. There are 9 Dineo Mudises. What's with the passport? Lusud. There are 9 of them. Okay. Which one are you? All right. Today, Dineo Mudise, or feel a date of birth, or feel a little bit like Greg. Okay. Tomorrow, how will you scholar to the bank? You also sabatle hui bata. You decide, okay, Lena like Greg 112. Okay. Capo utwella la Dineo, also sebisa la liano. And haba fitla ba hela me chalante ya rona e o kae ba se nna eo passport ya ka ke le go fitla ba le passport office how go jwetsa hore ke Joang Molapo go fa passport ka go Joang Molapo next week ha re ha o so go jwetsa hore o kgethisa Molapo re tla fa tokomane e re mo kgethisa Molapo. Okay, so and this has been a major problem for banks, for individual people, ba wherever it is, malapa ho abaditsa motho tla fitla ga ya o tsahela hantle ke nna motho ene fela ke la ka kgetha o sebedisa mabitso a itse kore there are so many issues. So it's important that Joang Molapo, here you are, here is your ID number. Kapo Kutuelo Molapo, here is your ID number. How can nyalwa the ID number stays the same.
Okay. Unless you bring it here and say,
yes,
change my name.
Right. Now, here is your school certificate. Certificate South School doesn't say anything at all. If a fellow passes from 5 on the first class, Mutiamang high submitter. Are kin home. That's it. That person who said this at Dogomani no Mabituano Mono. O re ke batla passport o sa fumana passport o se la identity ya hae o itswella pele me ba bangata but ba sebedisang ditokomane tsa batho ba bang ba etsang all manner of things. All of these problems, the passports are part of the problem. Yeah, look at the passports because hadina mo ihlendina le mohlodi wa hore na o ma. They lead to all manner of problems. Okay, go a simple one. Ke batla jona so so se ke le mo di 26 molao re masole a ska re khudwa le ka tlase ho 24 so ke itsamaya fela ke ikela mane ke ikela morene ka pe ke tswa le ngwana la pe mane le ring ke hlaile ka 1994 ke tswa ntla ke hlaile ka 92 ka ka 91 ke ra fela ke mphe ngwana le re hlaile ka 94. Now that is so you change your birth date. Okay, you are there, you are my wife, you are busy telling me, you are 23. Nini asa ke phela mona ke sheba di photo tsa sekolo ke ga bo 23 bona 14 70 ya le mo se itseng ha ke go bona yo je. So bonyani now we are saying who kena into the national identity register. You are going to tell us now ma, and you're going to give us how they give Joang Molapo. You are going to come and document Joang Molapo. How was the 9th of November 1965? Okay? You are going to come with evidence. Yeah, was the 9th of November 1965. How umwana wa moki le matsidiso? You are going to come with evidence. Yeah, umwana wa moki le matsidiso. And similarly, my children, each and every one of them, idea high, is now linked to le mewabon. So now my daughter, ha sari, ndadirang hayo, me kudelo hayo, kinna mujalo fa wamu. How to now Joang Haizidi? Oh, I want to the certificate, I want to one Joang the Moki. Moki yena le record, the Ahorikiwana wa hetisa. Therefore, mona hetisa. How Shara Nelitano Yanitaba Garamala, how no more important to go thing. This is who I am, and there is documented evidence to that effect. Okay? So it's this document proves I am who I say I am.
Yes.
And so there are so many issues resolve, which the passport resolve. Okay? But because the passport, we thought all of these other problems about going to the passport, they are just problems which we cannot sort. Now, if we now know, how look at our population register, we know who your mother is, we know who your father is, we know who your grandparents are, we know where you're from, we know what date of birth you are. Therefore, I'll just like the other denomination, yena ama bizwa tshwana ha le yena ga tseba go o teng ye mong yena ke I ha ona mo atlang ka ditokomane tsa ha fela ba o santsa tsile ka tsona santsa ba pheta ka tsona. So there are so many issues that you look at the way Zimbabweans are working in South Africa because they are documented. They are not subjected to the same hassles and problems say subject on Hobasud. So we also want to make sure Hobasud can get the benefit naha with a more developed economy. But we cannot have these hundreds of thousands of people undocumented. They need to be properly documented. So all of these things, there are so many benefits. Population register, and that's one of the reasons why I am so insistent now. Because what I would hate, we spend 700 million, 800 million. If other people come to us and say, but we don't really have any value. But it's only half baked. When we can spend 2 years, because everything is, how once everybody has the IDs about, when you come to get married, only the IDs alone. You will get a marriage certificate. Mama, ID number new, daddy ID number new, are married. End of the story. Banabalo na ba tla document fela ba re kana to mane registering ya di manyalo le nyalo ba tswa di ba ka le teng mo le register. Therefore ha ke re ke mojalo fa mo le la benle e le bele ka le ba ka le itse. So there's a lot of things that this thing will help us to resolve. It's not about us just wanting who we just decided let's just start. Yes. Yes. So really it's
with a lot of clarity. Onto the next question, I think we can talk about Joang Molapo as a family man. Who is Joang Molapo as a father, as a husband? What does he enjoy doing?
I'm very, very lucky in that I got married, and therefore these 20 years defeatile in no time at all. We've just been married, and how to celebrate the 20 years together. She's a wonderful person, my wife. We met like a lot of people met, just by accident. I knew all of her friends before I had ever met her. And I am in Adil Gauteng. We just happened to meet on the taxi, and she's a lawyer by training. And if you know what lawyers are like, but really, yes. But I mean, you enjoy it, you get used to it. She's a wonderful mother. She's a wonderful wife, which means that I think, really, in summary, I think I have a very, very pleasant home life, which helps me a lot in business and helps me a lot in politics. Because how weird into something I still realize, when all things are said and done, when I pack these things up and I have to go, I really will. I look forward to go on tonight Chinese. Man, I get high on and I get off the money, and I'm going to recharge my batteries because I'm going to enjoy being at home. Redula, Pidlama Siruman went to Fuento, Le High Squanana, Ishle Salary, but settled the Rive. So we are still sort of commuting between the two. All over the place like South Africa. South Africa. She was living in Johannesburg, and now for the last 2 years, but still, I used to make a real effort to go and see her.
And the children were.
Yes, and the children were whenever okay. So Giatisa Hoya, Hubona Capo, Requapanella, the Ribe, Gabon weekend, it's other than that, everybody in my family, Ogata Masimul gardening, half it like 40. So before I was 40, I had no interest in gardening, I had no interest in farming. And Kenali quite a large and my wife on anything. But I did get a 40 because my father was the same. But my father was a very, very big farmer and a very big person. But half who 40 years old. I'm now a very keen farmer and a very keen so high school I'm a fruit farmer. Grapes, I've got about 20 different types of grapes growing in my yard. All these deciduous fruits, apples, peaches, pears, plums, almonds, oranges. I've got a few oranges as well going. So I'm very much a person for many years. But all of those guys, so we played a lot. I played a lot of football. A lot of tennis. I'm a very serious chess player. I work a lot on generally the team in chess. I don't really get a lot of chances to play I don't get a lot of chances to play in the tournament, the high but when I do play, I still win. So I still know that Liana, the guy I got down last year, is the national champion. Kilagam Papa Liana Happy, the Hagaro Chapel, also the boss. But chess is one of the things that I really, really like a lot. And Kitabetu Bonagan to Hove, the number of people who are playing and participating. And other than that, I'm a very, I consider myself to be quite a keen reader. Whether it's Honajanana, I'm reading Nalabuga Jeffrey Archer, the Gala Fella Just Hananako. I'm reading the State of Africa by Martin Meredith, which is a historical book. I'm simultaneously reading 2312, which is a science fiction. So I'm reading about and the Great Gatsby. So I've got 4 of them ongoing right now. So I am with but I tend to read across the board. I think really because ke kgola nna like I said, I don't like, my wife is a very good lawyer and a very good debater. I don't like a discussion is in a structure. So I think you need to continue to read and just continuously, the engineering professioning, there's that thing, continuous professional, more graduated. And I keep up to pace with new programs, new developments in engineering, new technologies. So I think I try and apply that across the board. Don't sit on your laurels and say, "Well, I graduated 23 years ago. I don't know everything about engineering." So I
know a little bit about everything.
So I try and keep, like, for example, technology. So I like computers. I like all of those things, which is really helped me a lot, because of the fact that we're automating so many of our processes. So at least to have an understanding how these systems, are wrong, what are they capable of doing, what are they not capable of doing. So that really, in a nutshell, is I think of myself as a family man, as a bit of a sportsman, but I'm also I like a lot of things they identify uniquely. Culture, all of those things I like them, but I like them how under the microscope. For example, I'm very, very keen on Joang Molapo banana I would really like to see at a personal level. I would like to see that, because I have no doubts where they are working, where they are living, or that they are people who are capable of adding value. So I think that the institution Leon should be open to progressive ideas. So there are a lot of I hope that I can be a modernist and a traditionalist all at the same time.
And on that note, I think we will conclude our interview. What message of, with the chance of sounding very cliche here, what message of hope would you give to Lesotho in regard to the overall development of the country, and where it is you hope to see this country get to?
Now, I've had the good fortune in Lesotho and outside of Lesotho. And I think one thing that I've learned from Lesotho, Lesotho have huge individual capacity. For a lot of reasons, we have chosen to use these skills and not I think the elections of 2012 has taught me we can make a priority those things that and I think that I feel personally very blessed where for the first time we are forced to and then more. So I think that I think it really is to say to Lesotho that I believe very much in this generation ya Basotho ena ke ikutlwa ke le karolo ya yona, who were born after this country ifumana independence, that they are capable of looking at the past, to take the good things out of it and the bad things out of them and put them one side and put the bad ones the other side. And I think that we are right now delivery, and we are trying to be about service delivery. There are many challenges. I don't personally want to defend myself by saying hore. I think the issue go hore you how it means that you are ready to deal with those problems. And it's just to say to Basotho, we are trying our best. And when it's time for us to pass the baton on to others, we really hope we will give them a better set of circumstances than the ones that did Fumani. Whether it's economic, whether it's social, whether it's political, we are really working our hardest to help this country take a step forward. And I think really that there is a real commitment to try and deliver. And I think also that the opposition Leon, they also, I think, have come with a different style of opposition. And therefore, I think that we are starting a new page in the political history. And we are trying our best not to be opposition in 2017, but one day you will be on top, one day you'll be at the bottom. And at the bottom, I think that we want to look back on our time and say, well, and so I want to say to Basotho fela but the vast majority of the time, very
much true. Okay.
All right.
I think we, Lesotho, as regular citizens, can attest to that. We see the change.